What is going on, people? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily here on the Audacity Network. If you guys want, feel free to sign up for our app. We are on both app stores and you can support in case they kick me off again. They do try to ruin my life. They really do. You see the bags under my eyes? That's from 2 years of torture from women. But I've seen it worse than a lot of the people I've interviewed. So, anyways, before we get into today's topic, which is that white people are very tired, exhausted. We are so freaking exhausted. Black people in the nicest way possible. You guys have really exhausted all of white people's charity. White people are very charitable. We are the most charitable people on the planet. Um, and I don't say this with hate in my heart. But I don't know a single white person that has routinely helped black people on a regular basis that hasn't gotten burned from it or given black people opportunity. I don't. They always steal something or call you racist or um and I mean this with love. I don't mean this in a mean way, but white people are fatigued. We're exhausted. We are tired. We are so tired. And last show, oh, fuck, I'm just gonna go. I was gonna do a couple stories before the story. Maybe I'll do it at the end. But I think I'm too passionate about this topic. White, yeah, borrow money, they don't pay it back. White people have done a lot of good for society. And I think that's very much overlooked because my entire life, I would always hear about how evil white men were and how white men are just the root of all evil, right? And the interesting thing is, white men have always been the most charitable to me. They like white men. And especially if you talk to a really smart white guy, they're like a different breed of human. They can fix anything. They can think through any problem. They don't get angry. I mean, why do you think women they go for like the Daquans, Tyrese, the drug dealer black guy? It's because it's too boring dating a white guy. He's going to be so stable. He's just going to get things done. They're so positive. Like they're just naturally positive people. White men. And I'm not saying white people don't have their problems. I could really talk I could talk about white people's issues. White men don't have the ability to tell their wife no pretty much ever. They will assist in their white wife's. They will just they're yes guys because they're too busy. They're too busy working. Why do you think the black women are like, we're gonna try to swirl? There's this new trend of black women dating white guys because white guys are so chill. They're just chill. All they want to do is just work. They want to work. You know, you ask a white guy like what's his social life, he'll say social life. That's for and I don't mean this. I think white guys could actually benefit from this because if they had more friends and of a social life, they could at least, you know, um, bring other women around to piss off their wife and maybe get her in line, put some fear into her. So I'm not saying that, I'm not saying white people are without sin. We are, but we've acknowledged white people's sin. We have, we've acknowledged it. Okay, you've told us. Okay, don't get, don't forget it was a white man. Dat, I know what race you are. Dat, sorry, unalived your leader. Dat, really? You can't that, Here we go. And I don't mean this in a mean way. I think at some point all these reaction channels are going to come at me. I just can see Abin Preach nagging me. I just see it in my future. The OSHA. I just see them coming back to nag me because they got nothing better to do. Um, Even if we go into school, let's see, because that's always they say, what percent of mass shooters are white? I'm grokking this, so take it with a grain of salt. 50% their share. So we're actually less percentage of mass shooters. Like we're 60% of the US population, according to this. And we're a lower percentage of mass shooters. So we're actually below, I'm not saying what percent? Let's see. What percent? What is the demographics of mass shooters? 50 to 60%. Black people, I'm sorry, you guys still are double. You guys are 20 to 25%. You're 13% of the population. For your size, you're still double. You can't come out. We're below what percent of the population we are. You guys are still double. Even, it's crazy. Even when you point out a white crime, you've still managed to outcrime us. Like, it's so crazy. It's the mass shooters are red herring because when they're trying to do gun control, they count gang shootings, which are overwhelmingly people of color. And everyone's going to get mad at me. Now, I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again because this was just such a canon event for me. It really was. When I was in England, I had probably at one point, I think at one point I went at 100% black staff. And to be honest, guys, I've said this before. I have a lot of love for black people. There are things that I love about black people that are just so much better than white people. And I can riff. I could go back and forth about both races. I think black people are funny. I think they're way funnier than white people. If I ever want to go to a party, black people are going to be the most fun. Like if I do street interviews, they're always more willing to do street interviews. What are there's just an energy. A lot of them are high energy, and I'm high energy. So that it's like a big ball of fun. But they can never stop at the fun. They're saying sex offenders are disproportionately white. Is it going to be over what percent we are of the population? What percent? It could be. I'm going to find out today. Of what are the demographic breakdowns of sex offenders? We're going to find out. Okay, I know it's going to be male. Sorry, Doug MPA. You guys still are double for your 13% of the population. You are 25 to 30% of the sex offenders. We're about white consistently shows 50 to 60% of sex offenders are white, which is about what we are of the population. Hispanics are low. I guess you guys are not sex offenders. Good job, Hispanics. Good job. It's so crazy. I can't even talk about black crime without having to talk about white crime. It's like women. We can't ever talk about women. And then I'll debunk it. I'll go through and say, let's see, is it a higher percentage? Now we're getting into serial killing. Well, how common is serial killing? Is that even that's the most rare crime of all the crime. They're white people dominate the very most rare crime. Sorry, if you're in a white neighborhood, nobody's really afraid you're going to be sex offended or you're going to get serial killed. That's just not a normal fear. It's not. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm not trying to be rude about it. But, at some point we just have to be honest here. We just have to be honest. If I'm in a white neighborhood, I am not afraid I'm going to be serial killed. I'm just not.